da schön angeln sind, sind wir egal.
Der hat sich schon fast gedacht, dass es nichts wird.
Forerunner finish.
Also, ich bin zum Start in diesem zur Werbung raus.
Forward track. Five minutes to start for the competition. 5 minutes to start. Forerunner and finish.
Monobob World Cup is part of the 5th race weekend of the season, and we are here at Lillehammer in Norway on a glorious winter wonderland morning. Deep snow, deep overnight temperatures of -10 as we get ready to see this track in action once more. 30 years ago, it was the Olympic venue for Lillehammer 1994. 20 years ago, the last time women's bobsleigh and skeleton raced here in the World Cup. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me from Team GB, Greg Katty. Greg, a new track to a lot of our recognised front runners, but for most of the younger pilots, this is actually quite well known because they have raced here in Europe Cup, and so a lot of them actually know the track.
Yeah, I mean, me included. I'm one of the people who's never been here before. I had my first runs on Thursday, or run, I should say. Looking at the track point of view here, we saw that start gets us into things pretty quickly. And speaking to the pilots, this track gets up to speed rapidly. So these first 2, 3, 4 corners, if you're getting anything wrong there, you're scrubbing a lot of your speed. So they need to make sure that, especially in these monos, get those off to a huge start. We come into like the tricky sort of 7, 8, 9 labyrinth. You'll see in the 4-man on Sunday. Watch the bums lifting there, because that's tricky for the sleds to get onto. There's some actually surprisingly violent pressures here. I was a bit taken aback. I was like, oh my God, am I an Altenberg or am I in Lillehammer? And coming down to the bottom here, if you're not taking speed down this section brilliantly, and if you're not avoiding skids into these bottom corners, you will scrub your speed because the track really flattens out at the bottom. And coming through at corner 16 through the finish line there, and a lovely long braking straight. Yeah,
nice long braking straight. Start record Morin Zimmer from the Europa Cup in 2022, and she is racing here today in place of the injured Kim Kalicki. And the downtime record, that's Margo Boch, again set in the Europe Cup in November 2022. So Margo also in the field here today. We've got 15 sleds. Yingqing of China is in the field, but no Wai Mingming. So quite a number of our regular runners are missing. Everybody, of course, went to St. Moritz. Everybody loves to go to St. Moritz, but actually, this would be an equally stunning location. This is such a fabulous place. Lara Nolte, you just saw there. There's the woman who can't stop winning at the moment. Keisha Love won the first race of the season in the Monobob, but since then, it's been all about Lisa Buckwitz. She's absolutely on fire. But the Youth Olympic champion from 2016 here, Lara Nolte, is in the field as well. Lara Nolte also the World Championship gold medalist from last year. And in fact, from the entire women's field of 15 sleds, Lara Nolte is the only one who made it as far as even one World Cup race. And Lara Nolte, of course, one of the leading lights. So Katty B is the first of our 15 sleds off the top of the hill. Morin Zimmer makes her World Cup debut in the mono. She raced in the World Championships last year as the junior world champion. She got the free bye. Then Lara Nolte in the middle of the field. Lana Myers-Taylor, our Olympic silver medalist in Monobob, is here as well, feeling recovered after her dramas in St. Moritz, health-wise.
You know what, Martin, I'm really looking forward to this race, because looking at the start field here, we have got some serious starters, and this is a starters track. And I think a 5.62 for Morin Zimmer. So Zimmer is a great starter.
She sure is.
That might stand up here.
Now, this woman, Katty B, collared me in training to say, when we get to the women's bob tomorrow morning, make sure you mention I've got a start record, because nobody believes I have. She does have the start record, but not in Monobob. Okay, unfortunately, they've had to use a bit of masking tape hold the visor down. A little bit of last-minute prep from Wolfgang Stampfer. Not sure what happened there. Away she goes, 5.86, 5.62 is the start record. So she's going to give us our first view of the track from the outside. First couple of corners, like you said, corner 3 there into turn 4, relatively gentle, very easy to give speed away. And then corner 6 has been a real key for speed. If you have too much of an early wave there, you really give away much too much speed.
Well, we talk about giving away speed as well, and the main thing in the monos is damage limitation, right? These things are so skittish, they're so tricky to control. The girls are doing an insane job at the moment of getting to grips with these things. You know, they're shifting their weight, so they're shifting their weight further back to have more control.
Oh, yikes!
Big exit there from Katty. She's on fresh ice, so that's what we're talking about. If you make any mistakes like that, we'll see how that stacks up now. But at the bottom here, it's so flat, and head down to the line.
Oh,
well, a track record, we'll take that.
All right, there you go. 54.86 compared to 55.15. That is a shattering
Okay, the first gauntlet thrown down.
Yeah, all right, well, there were definitely mistakes there. Extra 13, when you come out of 10-11, the sort of long double left-hand pressure into 12, that's the key area then for 13, because you can come off 13 so late as the the Latvians proved in four-man training. Here she's going in on the wrong side, and that then sends a high early. Comes back down, and then centrifugal force pushes her up, and that's about as close as you want to get.
Yeah, she's done well to wrestle that off there.
In a two-man or a four-man, that would have gone over. The extra body weight would have just dragged it away from the ice.
As well, so.
Yeah. And that's the only notifiable straight of any length at all, apart from the outrun. Okay, next up, Adele Nicoll from Great Britain made her debut in Innsbruck.
So are we really interested to see Adele start here? Adele is, look at her, she's a monster of an athlete. She ran far there as well. 78, that's a great start. Adele's got a bit of a knack at the moment for doing something that Team Hall do as well, which is big push on the first one and even bigger on the second one. So it begs the question, what were you doing on the first one? That looked pretty good to me.
Running it down to turn 2.
Yeah, basically.
Little touch there down into from 4 to 5, and then corner 6. Nice smooth exit here to keep the speed up.
Red numbers, there's just a couple of little mistakes. So you see little skids setting things away, but she keeps this tidy through to the bottom section.
Like Katty B, it's only her fourth World Cup this season. Katty B didn't race in the World Cup last year, nor did Adele. Little cleaner there, and that might bring her back into the frame. 3200s back. Speed not quite as high as the Austrian sled.
No, speed's not quite there for Adele.
Tucks herself under the cowl, 55.29.
She's shaking her head there. I'm sure she knows what went wrong at the top there, because it was a good start, and Adele is still getting no experience, so she's a competitor. She'll want to win every time she goes out, but she is doing so well this season. She's a complete newbie. She's, you know, Katty B's been around a long time, has lots of major medals to her name. Adele is still finding her way, so hopefully she'll review this with the coaches and sort out what little bits were scrubbing time for her.
Little tap there, she got nudged away. Extra 13 was tidier. It's going to be very hard to avoid a little tap on the wall. Now that just sends you into a tiny skid down to 14.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything glaring there. I think maybe just little things.
Morin Zimmer, last year's junior world champion. The junior worlds were last week. She wasn't in those. And Kim Kalicki, clearly struggling for fitness, has been taken out of the monobob battle. I think Kim is still likely to race women's bob, because then you've got the advantage of having somebody else pushing with you. But Morin is a bit of a mighty powerhouse. She had the start record at 5:62. 63,
just outside, right. So we're setting the standard now with the big pushes.
Now the track will get faster at the top. It was down, it was minus 10 when we were coming in at 7 o'clock this morning, so the minus numbers were pretty low last night, so the track will get less frosty at the start.
She's 3/10 up here already.
Yeah.
Shows the velocity she would take at that start. And she's keeping this pretty clean. Set the faster speed.
Yep, so the gap will come down a little to Katty B. Nice smooth lines. And you think what these sleds looked like when they were first introduced 2 years ago, where they were sideways everywhere. They just looked like you were on ice.
Yeah,
and now they look like you're on rails.
The back was kicking out all over the place. It was skittish, any minor mistakes, but everyone was making the same mistakes.
Yep.
So it was about damage limitation.
Nobody knew how to get the best out of the sleds. Great run, new track record, 54.50. Well, Katty B had the track record for under 5 minutes. And that is 36 hundredths quicker than Katty B.
Excellent run from Morin there.
Yeah.
Off a huge push. Huge push. So we're seeing the starters track being born out here.
Well, and for Morin, actually, this is a golden opportunity, because the German team is so strong with Lisa Buckwitz, Lara Nolte, Kim Kalicki in terms of driving, that you could spend your entire career as a top pilot and never make their World Cup squad, because until they retire, who's going to beat them? It's going to be so hard. And Morin is on that cusp where she might end up just forever doing Europe Cup. So she's got to take this opportunity and really seize it.
Definitely. It's another thing that makes the German program so strong. That depth just forces the cream to the top.
Margo Boch, 10th in the World Cup standings, race winner in the World Series for Monobob a couple of years ago. 5th World Cup race, 8th, 9th, 12th and 14th this season.
I think Margo's improved a lot athletically this year. See, even there, her pushing technique looks a lot better. And an 88 is a decent getaway. Margo has skills on the D-ring, so let's see how she brings this down. She maintains the speed at the top. It's okay, little tap there.
Well, we saw in the skeleton race that you don't necessarily have to have the best start if you can really drive, and there's a little bit of that element still in the Monobob.
Definitely #1 speed, so let's see this gap just slowly creep down. She doesn't have the velocity that Zimmer would have had at the top. She might create it for herself down here.
It's a nice smooth exit, still 4100, so she stopped losing time, but the speed is not quite as high as Katty B and flops off.
Late and skid.
Yeah, late off 13, so the gap will grow to Morin Zimmer. Where will she be between Katty B and Adele Nicoll? Third at the line, and she is 1200s behind Katty B, so there's a battle on there. Bruno Mijon on the left, Max Robert on the right. They're the duo that coached the French and the Monegasques, which is why you have two coaches working together in different outfits.
That's it, and you know what, Margo was about 4/10 down for a couple of speed clocks there, and at the bottom, after that skid, she only lost 700, so she's actually managed to maintain her speed pretty well there. It can go a lot worse.
2600s down on Morin Zimmer at the start alone. She was 4800s down at the bottom. Now, the rule of bobsled is you should be 3 times your start deficit away at the bottom, so she definitely drove really well. And that little error there out of 13. Again, the skid could have been a lot worse. Back with the German dominant force of the season so far, Lisa Buckwitz, 7th in the season opener in La Plagne, and then gold, gold, gold. The 2 races in Innsbruck and in St. Moritz.
Here we go, watch the start here. Will she get under 5:62?
2018 Olympic champion in women's bobsled as a brakewoman.
62 on the nose, equals the start record.
Yeah.
And 100 ahead of Zimmer. Again, it shows what a exciting talent Morin Zimmer is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lisa Buckwitz is one of the standout pushers in this field. But as we always say in bobsleigh as well, the start time's great. It's great to measure up where you stack up there against the other teams, but it's about the velocity you take into the sled. So it'll be the way these girls load, it'll be the speed on entry into the sled that they can take into this track.
And we look at Lisa Buckwitz, and I kind of look at Keisha Love as being a season or maybe 2 behind, because Lisa was starting to drive around the 2018 games, whereas, or just after. Oops.
That will dent her here. Now let's see if that second fastest speed, is that going to bring this gap down?
Could be down to single digits. Oh, 54.44 it is, just 600ths of a second.
But you can see there, that late entrance, that skid into the flat part of the track at the bottom.
Yeah.
Just annihilated her advantage there, so it was pulled down much closer than she'd want to be to Zimmer.
It's that 10-11 sequence that if you get out of those 2 left-handers correctly, then 12 and 13 aren't a big drama. But here going in on the wrong side of 13, which means a lot of G-forces straight away in the ice, and you come off late, rattle the wall, and the back end bumps back out, and there's the skid, because there's not the weight of a brakeman sitting over the axle to keep it in line. And then, whoa!
Not the weight of the brakeman taking all those G-forces.
Yeah. Yeah,
still pretty good, Lisa.
New track record and the lead, but it's not about Morin Zimmer for Lisa Buckwitz, our current leader. It's about the world champion, Lara Nolte. So Lara Nolte, Youth Olympic champion 2016 in women's monobob, or youth monobob as it was then called. So that's where her campaign started. Now, she's not been back to Lillehammer since. And you think, oh yeah, well, yeah, but she raced here and she won it. Yeah, they did 2 race weekends here in 2016. What were you doing in 2016, 8 years ago? I can't remember.
So 74 getaway from Laura here. So she knows she's going to have a slight deficit on the push to Lisa and Morin, but watch the, as John Morgan said, the eyes and hands of this athlete, because she's a hell of a driver. That's an amazing stat as well. Yeah. He dug out there, Martin. She's the only athlete from that Youth Olympic Games to have continued.
Yeah. The only female slider from the 15 in monobob to have got to the World Cup, and of the top 6, the wider podium, the only one to have done more than 1 race after the Youth Olympics.
She is close. Ooh, not ideal for there. She was closing that gap there.
Rocking and rolling. Second best speed behind Lisa Buckwitz.
That's better though.
Yeah.
It's just taken enough heat out of it.
Yeah, there you go. The speed has gone away, so she'll be second at the line, maybe third. Third it is. 54.55 inside the old track record quite comfortably, but 1100s behind Lisa Buckwitz. So the top three, Lisa Buckwitz, Morin Zimmer, Lara Nolte, covered by 1100s of a second.
I'll tell you what, though, she's given away, what was that, about 1100s at the start?
A 74 compared to Lisa's 62, so 1200s at the start, 1100s at the bottom, and with obvious mistakes like that one.
Yeah, and that was her main one, really.
Yeah.
I think rather than that, she's done. Again, this won't be an ideal line, but it's better than what some of the other girls have produced so far.
Yeah,
she
big
keeps
flop
it straight.
though out of 13, and that takes the speed away. You saw her drop down to only the 5th best velocity in the final speed trap. Again, some of these transitions that looked relatively straightforward on a skeleton sled are harder work when you put in a longer women's monobob. Next up, Cynthia Appia for Canada, the 33-year-old in her 13th World Cup race. She's done almost every one in the last 2 seasons. Third in the overall standings last year, but this year her best result has been a 5th place finish in the 3rd race of the season in Innsbruck. So she's definitely not been hitting the sweet spot with this sled and has walked away from it looking confused and disappointed almost every time we've seen her.
Yeah, and Sin, well, at 568 there. Sin's one of our biggest starters. She's a hell of an athlete, another shot putter. And she's, we've seen a couple of races where she looks like she's just been getting in a little early.
Yeah.
There, she looks like she ran it a bit further, so that's why we're seeing the sub 5.7 time there. Sin actually had an amazing start to life in Lillehammer last week. She had one of the Superman pushes where the sled actually got away from her. And she was brave enough. There's that split second, do I get up and get after it? She did. She got up, got in the sled and brought it down.
Yeah, you'll see that on social media, that she slipped and and fell behind the sled and then got up and ran after it and jumped in.
Well, I tell you what, she's #1 speed here as well.
Yep. This is a much better looking drive from Cynthia Appia. This is going to put her in with a shot at the lead. Morin Zimmer was fastest at the bottom, so she's not going to catch.
What a run
she
from
does
Cynthia.
catch Buckwitz. That's amazing.
Ah, the Canadians love that. Cripsy and Linden, Neve Hockey in the coach's box there.
That is
Great
amazing.
job, Sin. Don't leave her hanging.
Oh.
Nearly. Great job, Sin.
Well, finally, the
moon
magic starts to work again for Cynthia Appia. And without destroying them at the start as well. That was on driving ability. And this is a relatively gently paced track, a lot like Samoritz. I thought, you know, in Samoritz that would work well for her. But this is really a cut above from Cynthia Appia. She's turned her season around right there with that drive.
Hi, everyone at home.
Great job, Sin. She deserves that.
Yes, absolutely. So brand new track record and a new leader. Now then, what about Brianna Walker?
Another big starter coming up.
Yeah, almost a dozen wins in Monobob, but none yet in the Monobob World Cup.
So expect to see another star in the 5.6s here. She's such a pocket rocket, Brie. She is a strong athlete. 73. So
Fifth
again,
in La Plan at the season start, the only time she's been off the podium this year.
So second heat, we'll be seeing Brie bring that down. She's a competitor. She absolutely can push in the top time. So the tap and skid there.
Well, Cynthia leads off a 68, so she was only 500s behind Cynthia at the start. Great view there into the sled. You can see the hands working. Ooh, little rocky off 6. This labyrinth, if you get the first corner 7 wrong, then it's all wrong. 10 and 11.
Okay, it's 400s.
Yeah, this is very tight. Best speedable. She is so good at building speed in these sleds. We've seen this week after week after week. 200s in it. She's going to break the track record and take the lead. Brianna Walker. Here we go for Australia.
Numbers.
New number 54.41. Ties the track record. We have a dead heat at the bottom. A dead heat at the bottom.
What a race the girls are giving us.
Well, we always say you only need 2 cars to make a race. We've got 15 sleds in this field. We've got a dead heat for the lead. Top 3 covered by 300s, top 4 by 900s. Look at this here, exit corner 6. just brings it down maybe a little early, and then it sort of waves up a bit. This is exit of 13. And again, the little flop, the outside runners hit the ice, and that takes a bit of speed out and just starts to skid, but nicely done. Building speed all the way down.
But this is so good to watch. You know, the Monobob model is proving it's worth it. Like, you know, giving the girls more opportunities to compete.
Yep.
We're seeing standardized kits, so we're seeing the quality of the athlete, the quality of the drive. This is fantastic. What a great race.
Yeah, it really exposes the driver in the equation. And I'm sure there's a few men that would go, right, okay, it's all about me. I'll give the Monobob a try. Yeah, exactly.
I'll be straight in there.
All right, what about Melanie Hasler?
Obviously, another big start here. She has improved exponentially this year in the start on her own merit as well. 73, so we're seeing the low 70s into the sub 70s is the standout push here.
Exactly the same time we just saw from Brianna Walker to take a joint lead with Cynthia Appia. Mel, one of the 3 podium finishers in La Plana with the silver medal behind Kaillie Humphries and ahead of Andreea Grecu, none of whom had taken a World Cup Monobob medal before. That was the way to kick the season off, wasn't it?
So she's only got 5th best speed, and she's just dropping back a touch. But we'll see how she builds speed through the track.
Hasn't got control of the back of the sled. It's wriggling around underneath her. And again, maybe the runner choice. They
beautifully out there, though. That's probably the best we've seen.
Misled a little by the warmer conditions in training. I think it's a lot colder this morning than it was earlier in the week. Not than last week, but there we go. Across the line, 2400s back. That'll be a disappointing run, I think.
Yeah, so a quarter of a second back for Melly there. So that, I mean, it was a decent start, a decent drive, a couple of mistakes up at the top, but this could be run choice. There could be other things going on that we're not totally aware of, but it's been great to see Melly improving so much this year in watching her start performances. You know, Nadia Pasternak's at home if she's watching. Nadia recovering from the birth of her first child, and she's having some amazing starts.
Again, look, you see as she comes down, the tail of the sled moves left, then right, and that's early on, especially in the labyrinth, you could see that happening as well. It's just, I don't know if she's got fatter runners on the back than she really could have done with, but has not got the big Mel Hasler smile under that helmet. That much is definitely evident.
She's got the skills to bounce back from that, though. So.
Yep. Okay, so 9 sleds down in our field of 15. Next up, Yingqing of China. Only Ying is here. Wai Mingming is not racing here this weekend, so not sure where she is, but she isn't here anyway. 10th World Cup start. Ying was 9th in the Winter Games in Monobob, the first Olympics for Monobob. And her best result at the end of last season, bronze medal in Sigulda. So we know that she knows the potential is there. And again, for the Chinese athletes, it's harnessing that and getting the setup right week in, week out. Now, she hadn't raced here before it came last week.
Yeah, 79 getaway for Ying there. The Chinese program just goes from strength to strength. You know, they really are improving a lot. I was training with some of them in the indoor athletic centre here the other day and seeing they've got some good coaches, they move well, athletically they're improving. So there's lots of things in the pot that are yielding better performances for them. You know, they've got an amazing facility out in Beijing. So for them it's a legacy, you know, and there seems to be bearing out.
Most of these have only been in the sport since 2016, 2017 at the very earliest, so 5th best speed. This is a decent looking run. She's into the top 6 from the 8th fastest start.
Number 1
best
speed
of all. And that's going to make the coaches very happy.
1500s.
That's very good. 1500s covering the top 6. She's 100th behind Lara Nolte, the world champion. And only 1200s out of the medals. And again, she is 6/10 inside the existing track record before this morning. So we're seeing definitely a big raising in caliber here when the World Cup comes to town. Walks in through the sled, some vault from the back handles and land on the seat or on the floor.
That's what we said, you know, maintaining that velocity. They all choose a different style of load.
That was a nice, neat exit, kept it straight, and that's what gave her that top speed at the bottom. That clean exit out of 13. 10 down, 5 to go. Brianna Walker and Cynthia Appia lead from Lisa Buckwitz, Morin Zimmer and Lara Nolte. Next up is Alana Myers-Taylor, Olympic silver medalist. So the top Olympic finisher in the games, ahead of Christine de Brown, who's not here, and behind Kaillie Humphries, who's also not here.
So we're seeing another one of, I mean, an OG of the push, Alana Myers-Taylor, 580. She's still coming back to fitness, still coming back to form. She's, you know, she's got 2 kids.
Yep.
They're out in season. She does. I mean, the amount of hats this woman wears is pretty remarkable. That she comes and competes to the level that she does. I think we, you know, watch her approach Milan, because she's going to get stronger and stronger.
Well, she happily admits that having given birth less than 12 months ago, she is physically not as fit as she wants to be or as she was before her second baby. So, you know, you can understand that entirely, but the fire burns. 9th best start, she's 8th at the moment, 5th best speed, she's coming. And this is the sort of track that I think suits Alana well. She likes somewhere that's got a bit of serenity and peace about it, and this place does. 54.67. No major errors, but then that's the problem. If it's a track that doesn't inflict major errors, then it's the tiny incremental details that make the difference. We're going to see that in the 2-man, the 4-man, and in the women's bob, that we're looking at tiny errors that probably the driver feels that we might not even see. They're going to make big differences. Comes off late, you see her still steering down.
But Alana's a great driver, you know, she really does pull out some huge performances, and her experience is clear when she's driving, especially when her start performance is not where it will be when she gets a chance to fully come back. Because it's the 9th fastest start. Alana's top 2, you know, minimum. So
absolutely,
when that comes back, you're going to see her right back up on top of that podium.
And she's juggling and spinning plates like nobody's business. Next up, the young sensation of the US program this season, Kaisha Love. 1st, 4th, 2nd and 9th in her first senior season in women's monobob.
Kaisha's had some Achilles troubles this season, and recently she's had a lot of pain as well. I mean, she's giving it gas here, so watch for a big start. 61 start record. Sorry, yeah, what Achilles problems, Kaisha? I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. Right, so can she carry that? That's going to have immense velocity. If she holds on here, we could see a huge start record, track record rather, at the bottom. 1700ths in hand.
And again, she won in La Plagne. She was a silver medalist in Innsbruck, so she can wrestle the sled and she can nurse the sled as well. 2300ths
second up. Here we go.
All right, goodness me. Had not raced on this track before. Best speed all the way down. This is Kaisha Love at her absolute best, and that's a beautiful exit. She is going to absolutely destroy what was looking like a super tight field by 3/10. Crikey! I mean, goodness me. That's absolutely insane. Start record, track record leads by 3/10 of a second. It's like she's turned up in a Europa Cup field, and yet we've got the world champion, the Olympic silver medalist, and everybody else.
I tell you what, that is just astonishing to see. I don't think it's even worth saying a star is born now. She seems to be reborn every week.
Yeah.
And probably one of, if not the best exit we've seen out of that tricky corner there. And
beautifully done. Just the tiniest little touch on the wall. It came off straight into 14. Let's look at the... we don't get the going away shot into 14, but you wouldn't be seeing her bumping up out of the seat. What a drive from Kaisha Love. Never mind the start. All right, well, that's changed the dynamic, hasn't it? Let's see what Andreea Grecu has got for us. Bronze medalist in La Plagne, where Kaisha Love was the winner. Let's see if she can recapture that form. 3rd, 6th, 7th and 7th. And she has looked a little bit puzzled since we went to Innsbruck at why she can't produce the results that she knows are in there.
Watch the start here, though. 61.
Oh, my goodness.
She has been getting better and better and better. I spoke to Andreea in Innsbruck a few weeks ago, and she had said how she reverted back to her track and field background. She'd been doing sprinting through the summer, competing in the Romanian national champs, I think, 100 meters, and she's found that's made a real impact on her athleticism. So the start's fantastic. I'm seeing it just go away a little bit.
Yeah.
Down to 7th speed already. So
A couple of little touches early on, 2 to 3, 4 to 5, 5 to 6.
Something's gone wrong with the timing there.
Yeah, we've had a couple of little glitches yesterday with some of the timing eyes, or the virtual timing. Third best at the moment on the splits. Ignore what you're seeing sometimes on the screen. 6th best speed. It's not a bad looking drive. This is going to put her in with a shot at the medals. She's right behind Lisa Buckwitz, 100 behind Buckwitz. If you're 100 behind Buckwitz on most tracks, you're in the medals. She's 5th.
I mean, it's just showing what an unbelievable run Keisha had just before that. But
yeah,
it is great to see someone who's, you know, a fan of the sport as well as a competitor, to see someone like Grecu who has always been a really good athlete. As long as I've been competing, she's been a fantastic athlete. She's really found some incredible start form again. I mean, the start record in this field.
Well, just, first of all, start record, and secondly, 7/10 inside the old track record.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a hell of a race weekend across the board, I think.
Well, she needs,
start and track records.
You know, she got a great start, but then she immediately hit the wall into turn 1. And look, here into 14, that's a big, hard take on. She came in just a little too far on the right-hand side. So there's a lot to tidy up, actually, for Andreea Grecu, which is really encouraging, because that means there's room to improve.
Yeah, and the medals are only a couple hundredths away, so what's a silver? Wow.
Right. 2 to go. Bianca Ribi next for Canada. Gold medalist in Whistler, the first World Cup monobob race last season. 10th and 10th and 11th and 15th so far this year. She, a little bit like Cynthia Appia, has not found the magic touch. 584.
An 84 getaway for the firefighter from Canada. She is another one who's had, you know, a booming start to life. As you said, a gold medal in Whistler last season. She's still finding her feet at times in this program, but the Canadian women's program at the moment it's the leading light for them. Yeah. Doing a great job.
A little late. Down in the labyrinth, and again, so little taps and touches into 10. And that double pressure 10, then 11 and into 12. It's a clean exit here for 13. This is one of the key areas. Again, a little late block. 12th at the start. She's closing in on Katty B for 11th place and just gets in front by 0.03 of a second.
So a decent job from Bianca there. I mean, anytime you're out driving your start is a good thing, even if it's one spot. But she's not done too badly there at all. Again, it's such a new track for everybody. She's going later in the field, so she's having to deal with the later ice as well. So she seems happy with that.
Now, when I was looking up my stats yesterday, I looked at who's been here, who's done what. What I didn't notice was that she was born on the 27th of January. So Bianca Ribi today turns 28. That was the little note there.
Happy birthday, Ribi.
Little note there from her coach, Lyndon Rush. So happy birthday. Well, there are definitely worse looking places to spend your birthday. This is a really beautiful area. I've never been here before. I'm guessing you guys have never been here before, but yeah, can't wait to come back. Already, we haven't left. Linda Vfi now for Poland, our final slider in the first heat. And she was in the Junior Worlds last year, the first Polish female to take a Junior World Championship medal. Congratulations, bronze medalist in Junior Worlds.
And she's part of this resurgent Polish program as well. We've seen the guys, girls, they're all young, hungry, and wanting to restore Polish bobsledding. And 582 getaway.
And we see them in World Cup, and there are more coming up behind them as well, and that's even more encouraging. Not that you've got one sled or two teams that are sort of hanging on in World Cup, but that they are the tip of the iceberg, if you like. Little skid there.
Yeah, that's going to affect damage of speed at the top here.
And again, a little wavy in 6, slides into 7.
But all those little mistakes that we're seeing are going to be just taking away time.
Yeah, she hasn't really got control again at the back of the sled, and that's always the bugbear with these, because the athlete is the only weight in the sled, and sitting a little further forward, some of them, means the back is a mind of its own, and it is driving the sled from the back.
She's managing.
It's making it quite a rocky ride, actually. 14th at the bottom, 55.10. So she's ahead of Adele Nicoll. Adele's drive didn't look that bad. She, to our eyes, it was only the second sled we saw. She wasn't happy with it, so she obviously knows why. And Linda Vfi comes in 14th. So our first two starters, Katty B of Austria is 12th, Adele Nicoll in 15th, and the third starter, Morin Zimmer, in 6th.
So just see from these pictures, Martin, anything like that, any exit where you're getting set into a skid, that's just wiping speed from your run. And as we said, this is a starter's track. You get up to speed quickly. If you're not carrying it down the bottom where it flattens off, it's kind of good night for your time. So lots of mistakes there for her to work on. And again, another young athlete coming up through the program, so it's going to be really interesting to plot her course over the next couple of years as well.
Absolutely,
she's a good athlete too.
Absolutely right, and yeah, great to see a nation like Poland back with lots of participation. But I don't know what to say. I'm not going to use too many superlatives about Kaillie Love now, because we've still got another heat to go. Kaillie Love leads by 29 hundredths of a second from what was a dead heat for the lead, with start records and track records tumbling here. She broke the start record that two others had already tied, and she just destroyed the field by a third of a second nearly. Brianna Walker and Cynthia Appia tied for silver. Lisa Buckwitz in 4th, 100th ahead of Andreea Grecu, and Morin Zimmer, Lara Nolte, even Yingqing of China, not necessarily out of the hunt. I mean, look at that gap from 2nd to 8th. That's an insanely tight group. Kaillie Love just looks like she's a step ahead of everybody right there. And again, battles behind. Mel Hasler, 200s to Alana, 300s Ribi and Bile. It's going to be very interesting second heat. Well, that will be coming up at 10:30 local, which is 09:30 GMT, 04:30 Eastern. So wherever you are, grab a bit of breakfast, a cup of coffee, I don't know, maybe a beer if it's night time, if you're watching Down Under, and rejoin us at 10:30, and that will be in 50 minutes from now.